Hey guys, what's up? Hope you all are doing well. So I decided to do a quick video on one of the more fascinating crocodilian species, which is Purussaurus. And why am I making this video on Purussaurus? Because I think something about its size is a bit off, and something about its ecology that really fascinates me. And also, it's a cool crocodilian. If you didn't know by now, I have a serious preference for crocodiles or crocodilians in general. So, why not talk about a cool crocodilian, right? So, firstly, Purussaurus is the second largest crocodilian of all time. This is a massive crocodilian. It, funnily enough, did not live with the dinosaurs. It actually is a Cenozoic animal, and I think it lived in the Amazon River basin after the extinction of dinosaurs, and in fact during the age of mammals, or so-called age of mammals. It doesn't really make sense to call it the age of mammals specifically when these things were around. I mean, calling Pleistocene the age of mammals kind of makes sense, but calling the previous eras like Oligocene or Miocene as age of mammals is a bit of a stretch. But anyways, that's beyond the point. Today's topic is Purussaurus. So the other contender for the largest crocodilian of all time is Deinosuchus. So this is a size comparison between Deinosuchus and a T-Rex. As you can see, it's a enormous crocodilian. It's gigantic. It's massive. It hunted the biggest dinosaurs of all time. Like, not maybe the biggest dinosaurs of all time, but its time. Like during the time when Deinosuchus was alive, nothing pretty much was safe from this thing. Anything close to the water's edge. And now I want you to pay close attention is to the size comparison between these two. Like Purussaurus, despite not living in the same time, is actually about the size of Deinosuchus. The size difference isn't that much. Like, yes, the proportions are a bit different, but still, these are 13, 14-meter long crocodilians, which could easily grow up to like 8 tons on an average, and the biggest for Deinosuchus, I think, is around 14 to 15 tons, I believe. Though 15 tons I feel is a bit of a stretch. Maybe 14.5 is the more accurate estimate. Though we don't have any accurate estimates for the largest estimate for Purussaurus, but I believe 8 tons is considered like a large average size, maybe like a large male. As you know, crocodilians have quite a bit of variance when it comes to males and females. But anyways, the thing I really got curious about is usually when a crocodilian grows very big, it's to hunt very big prey. This is why you see the biggest crocodilians in places with the biggest prey animals. So for example, you see Nile crocodiles, which are in Africa, where there are a lot of megafauna like buffalo, wildebeest, zebra, different types of large antelopes, and different types of large deer, as well as hippos, rhinos, elephants, all of these. Secondly, you see like the saltwater crocodiles, or estuarine crocodiles, or Indo-Pacific crocodiles. These things also live close to India, where there are a lot of large animals like buffaloes, like deers, like boars, like sometimes even small elephants. And that makes sense that the bigger the available prey is, the bigger the crocodilian would be. And Deinosuchus is actually not that much of an exception. Like, some of the prey that Deinosuchus hunted was enormous. It hunted large hadrosaurs, some proto-ankylosaurids, as well as any other maybe some Edmontosaurs as well, though that's kind of debated. But as you can see, pretty much all its prey was multi-tons, like at least over 2 tons. Pretty much all of them. It also hunted a lot of very large turtles, but I think that's more to do with like supplementing its diet. I don't think it was main diet of Deinosuchus. So it grew pretty big, and not only did they have some really large prey, they also have some steep competition at the time as well. Like for example, they had competitions from Tylosaurs, which most of the times they won because Deinosuchus was overall a bit bigger and more bulky. They also lived in the western interior seaway where large sharks like Crocodile would have been our regular competition, and certain land predators like Albertosaurus and some other tyrannosaurids at the time would have also been some serious competition. Now I want you to remember all of these animals are above 2 to 3 tons. Like Tylosaurus easily was like 4 5 tons. I think it grew up to like 7 tons. The recent size estimates put it like 7 tons. Albertosaurus also was above like 3 4 tons, I believe. Cotexurina was in a similar weight class. So as you can see, Deinosuchus had some serious competition and some really big prey, which does explain why this animal became so big. It's massive. But then you look at Purussaurus and its prey, and you begin to wonder why. Like for example, the largest land animals that Purussaurus probably hunted were toxodons. So these were like almost looks like a hippo rhino hybrid. They are close related to, I believe, horses. And these things were like 1 ton at most, maybe 1.5 tons if we are being generous. And these are mammals, so they reproduce much slower. So it makes you wonder, like, there are some giant capybaras, but they don't even break the 1,000 kilogram mark. So it begs the question, what was this 8-ton predator eating that caused this animal to grow so massive to the size that is comparable to a Deinosuchus, despite not having any prey that was even close to the size of the things Deinosuchus was eating? On top of that, Purussaurus did not have any competition like Deinosuchus had. There were no land predators that could even dare challenge a large Purussaurus. There were no aquatic predators that could challenge Purussaurus. By the way, when it comes to challenging Purussaurus, a lot of people bring up Titanoboa. I would just like to clarify, Titanoboa and Purussaurus were separated by like 40 million years. Like, Titanoboa was further away from Purussaurus than Purussaurus was from us. Purussaurus lived around 12 million years ago, whereas Titanoboa lived around like 40 million years ago. So no, and even if Titanoboa coexisted with Purussaurus, it would not even be a competition because Purussaurus weighs like 8 times heavier than a Titanoboa. So no, it won't be a competition. People who are putting these things against Deinosuchus or Purussaurus, they clearly don't know the sizes right. But anyways, so it begs the question, if the prey animals weren't that large and there were no large competitors, what forced the Purussaurus to become so big? Now, I have a theory on this. It's not necessarily something I have proof of, but I think Purussaurus was probably estuarian. It probably had at least some adaptations to go at least into the estuaries, not maybe in the open ocean, but at least in the shallow oceans, sea beaches, and those sort of places. And it probably hunted small cetaceans there. Maybe not the large whales, but the smaller whales definitely, as well as some relatives of the manatee or some tropical seals. So yes, there used to be tropical seals as well. Nowadays there aren't that many. I think very recently the last species of tropical seals went extinct, but there used to be tropical seals as well. And I believe there were some really big ones as well, which could have been the reason why Purussaurus gotten so big. Hunting these cetaceans, these large manatee relatives, and these large pinnipeds, which probably could have been the things that caused these crocs to grow so big. And another theory I have about the cetaceans, or in general whales of this time, is that I think these whales migrated into the Amazon to raise their children. Now, why do I think that ocean dwelling whales migrated into the Amazon? Well, firstly, Amazon's a massive river. It's the biggest river. It's not the longest, but definitely the biggest river in the whole world. And it can totally have whales swimming in it. On top of that, the whales had plenty of initiative to get away from oceans when they had babies. Specifically, animals like these, the Leviathan and the Megalodon. For those of you who don't know, both of these animals actually coexisted with Purussaurus. So I think any whale or any cetacean living in the ocean, if they want to have any hopes of raising their babies, they probably won't want to do it in the open ocean where these massive raptorial sperm whales or these enormous sharks could just attack them. Like, let me remind you, these things hunted adult whales. Already, adult whales were not safe from these things. Baby whales would have been quick snacks, and whales don't reproduce nearly enough to sustain such a active predatory pressure. So what I believe happened was that these whales probably swam into the oceans. Sorry, not into the oceans, into the rivers of Amazon to avoid getting their babies eaten by these enormous sharks and sperm whales. And there is some modern day evidence of it. Like, people have found humpback whales even today, despite not having the large megaraptorial sperm whales and the megalodons. Still, humpback whales have been found 1,000 miles upriver of Amazons in the forests. Like, let that sink in. These things travel even to this date 1,000 miles upriver. I think you can see why I am mentioning this. I believe Purussaurus grew so big to eat the babies of these whales. Like, crocodiles already do eat whales, like dead whales, not alive ones. They don't actively hunt whales, but saltwater crocodiles sometimes do eat whale carcasses that are close to the shore. And I believe that Purussaurus was a bit too active for a scavenger. It probably did hunt whale calves. I mean, it makes sense. It Any crocodile doesn't need to be 8 tons to hunt a 1-ton toxodon. Like Nile crocodiles are usually 1 ton at best, like 1,000 kilograms, and they regularly hunt like Cape buffaloes, which can grow up to like 900 kilograms. So a crocodile doesn't need to be above 2 tons to hunt any toxodon. However, an 8-ton crocodile or 8-ton crocodilian, the Purussaurus, could potentially try and hunt a 3, 4, or even 5-ton whale calf. I mean, it will be a pretty easy prey because whales don't have such substantial defenses, and it would feed the Purussaurus for a good while. And I think if they coexisted in the same place, definitely some Purussaurus would try to do that. Now, some might claim that this theory of mine, Purussaurus hunting baby whales, might collide with the theory of mother whales migrating upriver to avoid predation. Now, here's the thing. Imagine you are something like a 30-ton whale, right? Like some, baleen whale that is not a predatory whale, like Megaropteral whale or something. Which one would you rather defend your baby against? A 40-ton shark? A 50-ton sperm whale? Or an 8-ton crocodilian? I think the choice is quite obvious. It's the lesser of the two evils. Like, yes, the crocodiles would, like, sorry, not crocodiles, I keep calling them crocodiles, the crocs. Since they're crocodilians, I can call them crocs. The crocs would try to eventually eat their babies, yes, but they would have a much easier time defending their babies from an 8-ton crocodile than some 30, 40, or 50-ton predator in the open ocean, which, mind you, are also faster than the crocs. So I think this could be the reason why these mother whales would travel upriver despite knowing that crocs would be there, which would try to eat their babies. They would still try to go there rather than fighting with some massive megalodon or some enormous Leviathan whales. I think that could explain why these crocs, these Purusauruses, became so enormous. Now, one counter argument I got on this from a friend of mine is the skull size. So, as you can see, that Deinosuchus had a bigger skull than a Purussaurus. Now, people say that a bigger skull means bigger prey, so Purussaurus must have hunted smaller prey, which is not necessarily the case always. For example, American crocodiles have bigger skulls than American alligators. However, American crocodiles are very much pescivores. Like, they do eat large prey, but very rarely compared to American alligator, which do regularly hunt large prey like boars and things like that. And another thing I would like to point out is, even though the skull's a bit shorter, it's no less wide. The skull is about as wide as a Deinosuchus skull, so it could still handle the struggling prey, the stress from the struggling prey between its jaws, and not snap with the pressure, still hunting prey animals that were similar in weight class to the prey animals that were hunted by Deinosuchus. Let me know what you guys think about this, and I would be glad to hear your thoughts on the comments, and do let me know what type of videos should I do next. I would love to have your suggestions on my next videos. Anyways, as always, see ya and have fun. Bye bye.